almost evening. Nice to meet you guys. How's the program? My name is Kolawole Ebire, and I'll be moderating the session for Nature's Infinite Power Source. It's living off-grid, feasible in Africa. So you're welcome.
Thank you.
All right. My first question is, what's your perspective of off-grid in Africa?
All right, thank you so much. My name is Shegun Adaju. I run a solar energy company called Consistent Energy, and I'm also the president of the Renewable Energy Association of Nigeria. So I'm happy to be here. I think kudos to the organizers of TechPlus. Great job you're doing. Off-grid, let me start from Nigeria. By international standard, yardstick, virtually almost all of us in Nigeria, we are considered to be living off-grid. And let me break it down. If you have less than 4 hours of regular power supply from the grid, wherever you live, then you are considered to be off-grid. So you could do the maths and see if you are off-grid or not. But we know that there is huge, deficit in terms of energy access. Close to about almost 600 million Africans are not connected to the national grid, with Nigeria having over 100 million of us. And energy is a requirement for daily living. So you have to generate your energy somehow. So you are surprised that in communities that are completely not connected to the national grid, people use things like kerosene lantern, candle, rechargeable devices, and even in city centers like Lagos, we all use generators. So I say that we are already living off-grid. It's a matter of how are we powering ourselves, and what are the new dimensions? What's the future of energy in off-grid locations? And that will be the first comment I will make about this.
Okay. Right. Thank you. So, Mr. Rere, what's your own perspective of off-grid in Africa?
Well, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Rere Obaisi, as we all know, Rere Nigeria Limited, and it's nice to meet you, sir. I've never met you before. So for off-grid, I think what we are here to discuss is if it is possible. Yeah. So I would just tell you right here that it is not only possible, it is compulsory. It is our future. That's the only way we can survive, basically. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much. The 7th SDG goal is affordable and renewable energy. My question is, where the plan for the SDG is to see that energy is available to these over 600 million persons in Africa by 2030. So what do you think should be done, both from the public and private sector? What can be done to achieve that goal?
All right, thank you so much. Let me also add to Rere's comments that it's actually possible. I can tell you I live off-grid, forget generators. In Lagos, where I live, in Magodo, I've been running on solar power for 7 years. Right. And my office in Ikeja has been completely off-grid. We're not connected to national grid. We don't use generator. And we have run for 3 years, completely solar powered. So those are, samples of what he's saying that is actually possible. Bayero University Kano today is almost getting off-grid. Yeah. I think they're off-grid already. Yeah. Okay, so that's the template of what we're seeing. Now, how do we achieve SDG number 7? Is to create access to affordable, reliable, and modern energy, okay, for everyone, universal energy access. So what do we need to do? Number 1 is to have creative entrepreneurs. I listened to the last speaker, Silas, and one of the 3 core skills that you need in the years to come will be, one of them is creativity. Okay, so I'm a former banker, and I'm an economist. I was in banking, doing my banking, regular banking, and I just found out that when I was in microfinance, one of the challenges of small businesses, when you give them loans, is that they don't have power to work and they can't pay you back. So we sat down and we said, look, we can't be bankers and we are not providing solution that is required. Okay, so we came up with an idea where we call it, democratization of energy also. And I think last week I also mentioned that word. We create an affordable energy solution for small businesses, for households, for rural folks. How do I do it? When I was in banking, for example, STB, we're leasing motorbikes to army officers. And I said, look, if I can lease motorbikes to army officers in Kaduna, then Why can't I lease solar power for barbers, regular folks who use generator, displace the generator, replace with solar power, and then they pay me as energy as a service. They don't need $1,000 to buy the solution, but they can pay me 5,000, 3,000 naira every week. And in 2 years, they have fully paid, and it's cheaper than their generator. So finance is very important. A creative financing model that will replace the generator you are currently using with an off-grid solar system, for example. Okay? So we also need policies. We need government to encourage, creating incentives in other countries where this has been done, China, Kenya, even Ghana here. There are policies that encourage entrepreneurs, tax holidays, custom waivers, and the rest, so that people can, provide electricity for the underserved.
Actually, you just took my next question, but let Mr. Riri respond to that, and then I'll come back to you.
What questions?
Yeah, in terms of where do you see Africa coming in terms of achieving these?
Okay, so, well, Africa is not playing on the front row, really. And I try to be realistic with my conversations, right? But we can do a lot better. And we definitely can speed up. And what I mean is this. We have all the advantages for renewable energy on our side. So I read recently an article that talked about the future, say about 20 years from now. What do we think renewable energy will be? Those people that came up with that article said Africa will be a frontline player. Reason being that people around the world would have decided to actually put solar panels where the sun actually shines. So for now, you see people in the developed countries, they have periods that have winter, they have falls. Those things really, reduce the amount of sunlight you get during the day, right? So in Africa, we enjoy abundance of that. So if we do what we're supposed to do, Africa should be a front player in another 20 years.
Thank you very much. I'm going to let the cat out of the bag. I know you're the president of Renewable Association of Nigeria, and I understand you're running the program, Warrior Project, on policy implementation. So my question now is, in terms of tariffs, importation, custom duties, what do you think the government can do as president of this association to take away these bottlenecks policies and then make it cheaper and affordable for not just Nigeria alone, but what do you think government can do to achieve affordable, renewable access to energy?
All right, thank you so much. WARIA is West African Renewable Energy Association. So Nigeria is also leading the incubation of an association across West Africa. And the idea is that, look, we share similar futures. I mean, we are just above, very close to the equator. I think a little bit above the equator. So you have the highest solar resource for power in this zone. Incentives, custom waivers, duties, VATs has been one of the biggest challenges that we have in this space. But there's an argument. So government needs over 10 trillion naira in the budget, right? For 2020, right? So Mr. Fowler is generating, needs revenue. The guy in custom needs money, right, to power Nigeria. And I'm saying I need waiver. Okay, so it doesn't make any sense to government. But it's been proven that where you have massive energy deficits, development is always very difficult. Listening to, he was the only speaker I listened to, so let me just mention his name. Silas, very intelligent guy. With all the idea he has, if you don't have power around it, you can't do any coding, you can't design, you can't do robots, right? So if you are able to create energy access for the populace, development kicks in, more revenue is created, more job is created, and then you can tax those companies. So if you give me a waiver of $1,000 in terms of VAT or custom duty, and I power 200 barber shops, they create additional revenue, additional income, and then you place a tax on those additional income. Record shows that you generate more than between 3 to 5 times the waiver you have given. So that means you can actually raise more revenue if you provide power for people to work, for companies to be energized, For example, we do a lot of hospitals, we do schools. You get to an hospital and you'll be shocked that operations are being done with, torchlights. Deliveries are being done in rural communities with kerosene lantern. I've seen an instance where a newborn baby was burnt, because they were using kerosene lantern. In this modern age. Okay, so if you're able to provide energy access, you increase, the GDP, and then you can tax more and generate more revenue. So that's exactly what we're pushing for. So our strategy is we're shooting through the ECOWAS, all right? ECOWAS is in charge of the common external tariff. So Nigeria cannot single-handedly change the rules. So we're coming in through the ECOWAS assembly to get these waivers for 15 African countries.
Thank you very much. Over to you, Mr. Riri. My last and final question is, from your experience in the renewable energy, I recently attended a workshop in Abuja in Transcorp Hotel on MITO. That's the tariff for off-grid systems. What is your advice to developers? How do you think they can make money from their investment?
Well, that's not the core of my business, right? But you see, when it comes to metering, there are factors you take consideration of. And I think generally it is cheaper to run on renewable energy than to run on fossil fuel. I have a data like that. Maybe I'll look through my documents and then give you. It's about $0.99 per kilowatt per hour to 0.25. So running on diesel, for example, is costlier than running on renewable energy from statistics, right? So, but you see, lest we forget the theme of this program. Our president has talked about how we can handle it at the base level. I want to really emphasize on we handling it from the top, which is desensitizing people, making people understand that, it is no more the generator era. You can live off grid. There is one thing about Nigerians. I'm sorry, I hope I'm not going off course too much.
No.
Something about Nigerians. We just really, just follow whatever is happening. Remember one time when it was pure water business that was raining, and everybody, And sir, I also was a banker before I pulled into renewable energy. So we have to understand this thing from a different perspective, which is Africa can sustain itself on renewable energy. We have abundance of sunlight. We have abundance of the renewable energy products that can be mined. For example, Okay, 1 minute. Okay, so for example, lithium, which is important to producing lithium ion, they found it in Nigeria. Cobalt is found in Congo. Zimbabwe, for example, has a couple of, how do I put it now? It's almost where you get the major lithium from all over the world. It's fifth largest lithium deposit in the world in Zimbabwe. So you see, once we have this at the back of our mind, realize that, we have this in our continent, we can tap into it, and then we can use that to negotiate on a larger scale, right? Lithium, for example, is what is in our phones, right? They now use it for electric vehicles. If you think about all these things, they're all our advantages. So can't we, even though we are trying to handle it from the base level, which is trying to make them understand that, you make extra dollars if you use renewable energy, why don't we do it on a bigger scale and bring these advantages to the continent, whereas you provide more jobs and you provide more businesses for people who intend to use renewable energy?
Thank you very much. Let's appreciate and put hands together for Mr. Shegun and Mr. Riri. Thank you very much.